MMAOddsBreaker, welcome back. Today we're talking to Elias Theodorou, getting ready to fight Roger Narvaez coming up here in UFC 185. You're one of the few guys that is in the UFC currently and still undefeated. That's right. Your record's correct?
This is true. It depends on who you look at. Or if you talk to Sherdog or the UFC sees me as 11-0, where Sherdog I'm 10-0. It depends if you count my tough experience or not.
Okay, all right, yeah, and there's always controversy whether the tough fights count or don't fight. I mean, who cares? It's just another. Honestly, at the end of the day, you could be 0-11. If you're in the UFC, you're in the UFC. It doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't.
Be anyway.
So, with that being said, you obviously know that CM Punk is in the UFC now and going to have a fight, but has never fought before. This will be on March 14th. This will be your third fight with the UFC. You had a long road, getting to the UFC. How do you feel? First of all, how do you feel about CM Punk being allowed into the UFC, even though he's never fought at any level before?
Yeah, no. Well, basically, I guess the best way to look at it is the sense that it's plain and clear that I always thought it the sense that it's not only how good you are, it's how many people want to come see you, right? It's an entertainment business. Yes. And now with CM Punk, that just reaffirms it. It's not only about what kind of martial artist. I guess with the right purse, Brad Pitt can come in. It is what it is. I would say on a martial artist aspect, he doesn't deserve to fight me. I'm 10-0. I'm undefeated, and like you said, I've put a lot of hard work, and so have a lot of professionals, yourself included, beforehand. And he's not up to par. So would I love to fight him? Sure, but I think he needs to earn the right to fight me. Is what I would say.
And that's actually a good attitude to have it, because let's be honest, when Brock Lesnar came in, he all of a sudden became the number one pay-per-view draw, the number one seat draw, the number one alcohol sales during a venue. He became the guy that all of a sudden everybody's wrapping around. And to be honest with you, he hadn't fought really anywhere either before he showed up at the UFC and became a superstar and became a champ, and then obviously, got sick and left. Now there's rumors that he may come back, and Brock's a guy that I want to see fight again. I like the way he fought. I like his amateur wrestling career. Obviously, I paid strong attention to that, and now with CM Punk in here, he's gonna bring a lot of new eyeballs. A lot of new people are gonna want to sponsor the events. A lot of new people are gonna want to pay attention to the events. But we all know the Reebok deal is in place now, so sponsorship's gonna be very difficult to come by. With the sponsorship deal of Reebok coming through, did it affect you in any way? Did you feel that immediate impact of some of your sponsors going, look, we're gonna have to pull out here pretty quick, because we're not allowed in anymore?
Well, the way I look at it in the sense that, honestly, without, I guess, saying too much in regards to numbers or whatever, I did really well in my first actual UFC fight. My last one was the first one I was allowed with a banner. And without dropping any names or whatever like that, I did the same amounts as many fights, right? Okay. So with that being said, sure, it might hit the bottom line in some way or whatnot, but for me, it's all about the idea that the professionalism that Reebok symbol represents. That when you translate it to basketball or what's called any other professional sports, rather, there's some type of official sponsor, and all the athletes get a cut of that piece. And the real thing that is important to me is what the actual end of bottom line actually ends up being. And with the tier system, it's a little different than, let's say, the NFL, where everyone gets the same amount. The only real difference is if everyone is buying Tom Brady's shirt, then that's where he makes money, more money rather. But it's a little different in regards to how other professional athletes are getting their point. But I'm okay with it in the sense that it takes us to that next level as professionals.
Well, my understanding is that of course, where your ranking falls determines what the price point is you get on sales. But if say you're in, you're ranked number 8th, which gives you a smaller price point, but you're selling more T-shirts than anybody else in your weight class. By volume, you'll make more money, but you might not make more money because your pricing is a little bit different than the guy that's number 1, say the champ of the weight class. Do you think that's a fair way of putting it out, or should it be everybody gets the same amount of money, and if you're buying more Tom Brady shirts, he gets more money. If you're buying more Peyton Manning shirts, he gets more money.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that was the point I was trying to get across. Yeah, I think the difference is, I guess, our sport's a little different in the sense of there's a lot of incentive. So just the fact that the showing up and winning are two different exact same pieces of the pie. So if we're already set on that in regards, then it's kind of makes sense that it's the incentive to become and aspire to be number one. So and with everything in regards to my career, if all goes well, who knows where I'll be in the next 2 years, right? So in the next year or two, I could be at that top 15, that top 10, that top 5, whatever it is. And then again, and then at that point, then it's really not my concern because I just want to keep going higher and higher.
Right.
So again, it all depends on how you really want to look at it. If you want to break it down, are we all in it together? Are we? Because I know guys that have 5, 6 fights under the fights and are scrounging together to make $2,000-$3,000 if they're lucky in sponsorship.
Right.
Again, not to say exact numbers, I did much more than that. But if I can sacrifice a little of my own amount of money in regards to the collectiveness that we are doing in regards to this Reebok deal, and he can actually make a living wage, I'm totally okay with that.
Oh, okay. All right. I understand your point. Most fighters don't think that way. They're like, I got to make as much money as possible. Your whole process is, look, if I got to give up a little bit, but now all of us can earn enough to provide for our families through fighting, then who cares? And that's actually a good attitude. That's actually a pretty smart attitude.
Yeah. And then with that being said, like there's different avenues, and again, it's like I've what's a bunch of like yourself, like you now in your transition as into acting and stunt work you've done or whatever. I actually dabble the same thing in Canadian networks and whatnot. So like with me, it's like I do the same thing in regards to I'm seen outside of my sport, and then it kind of just comes full circle. And Elias is on that commercial. Elias is on that TV show. Elias is fighting. So it kind of like all translates, and then that too comes back into your bargaining. If I am the face of Canadian TV, then the UFC will have to pay me as such.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how it is. Like we can all talk about my friend Chael Sonnen, who talked his way to 2 title fights. He lost a title fight at one weight class and moved up another weight class and loses again, but talked himself into another title fight at a weight class up. And if he was still with the organization and still fighting, he'd sell an astronomical amount of T-shirts because he has the gift of entertainment. And that really is what it's all about. Are you able to sell seats? Are you able to sell T-shirts? And you'll make a lot of money if you're able. But if you're quiet and don't talk much and just kind of come in and do your job, then you'll be struggling sometimes to make $2,000 or $3,000 extra. And that's the nature of the sport.
Yeah, it's a tough business, but and the idea that, as with anything, if you do it well, then it's a game, and both in the cage and outside, like and with the eyeballs, it's all about eyeballs. Whether they love you or hate you, as long as they're talking about you, that's all that matters. And whether they want to see you get knocked out or they want to see your hand raised, it doesn't really matter. You're a part of the game. You're a part of the water cooler talk, and you're the one that they want to talk about.
Well, let's talk about the new drug policy that's going to come into effect in July. I know everyone's excited about it. Like a lot of guys that talk about it, like this is going to be great. It's going to change how the sport is run. It's going to change the look of the sport. How quickly do you think we're going to start seeing a real change? Because there's some guys right now, obviously because guys are getting caught, and there's always more people that haven't got caught yet. So we haven't caught everybody. Everybody needs to understand that. So there's people out there right now that are using recreational drugs. There's ones that are out there using performance-enhancing drugs, and they're getting by, and they're passing their tests, and they're timing it right, and they're getting through it. Now with the out of competition testing, that's going to be random. How quickly do you see there being? Oh, I'm pulling out because of a knee injury. Oh, I'm hurt. I have to wait a little bit. Like how quickly do you think? Of course, this doesn't come into effect really until July, but let's not forget it's the UFC. And if Dana White says that, hey, Elias needs to be drug tested out of competition, you're getting tested. And that's just the way it's going to work because they're going to put money into it. And that's just how it's going to happen. So it could happen now, not even into July. It could happen right now to some of these people. How quickly do you think we're going to start seeing a change?
Hopefully sooner rather than later, in the sense that, again, it's in some regards, and you probably can attest to it more in the idea that you have a much longer career than I have, and just the idea, in many ways, as mixed martial arts has become the actual professional sport it is, it's been, in many ways, a wild, wild west. You can go back to the Pride days where it literally, let's get it done, right?
Yeah.
But with that being said, I'm excited in the sense that as someone that's prides himself as hard work, and even going back further than that, you can get into the fact that all bodies are not made equal. I have a genetic lottery in the sense that I'm a workhorse and I can do this this training, and I'm 26 years of age and I can keep on going. And tomorrow, nothing more than a couple of fish oils and 10 hours of sleep, I'll be ready to do it again tomorrow. Not everyone's built that way, right? And again, it's so much deeper than when people take the idea of steroids, performance-enhancing drugs, or whatever like that. They just take it for the name itself. It's sensational and whatnot. Right. And what it really is, like to the point that you said, it's all about recovery. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it's all about recovery. If someone has a bum knee, or God forbid, someone breaks their leg in a horrible fashion, to the point where if they had 2 more tendons removed, they would have had to amputate their leg, and instead comes back 14 months later and fights Nick Diaz.
Yeah.
So that it's obvious what that was. And again, to the point where now we're in the transition. I'm so excited for this out of drug testing because I have nothing to hide. Where it's the same sentiment where it's like when they're like, oh, the government's looking in your emails or whatever that. Well, I got nothing to hide. I don't care if you want to find a couple of dick pics I sent to my cousin. Well, I meant my girlfriend, but who's not my cousin. But anyways.
Are you sure about that? You seem a little. Yes. You seem a little confused as to whether your cousin's your girlfriend. Like I'm not sure. Are you sure?
No. I just went on a tangent and didn't put together or Freudian slip. Either way,
you do get punched in the head for a living. This is your job, and sometimes they get memory loss. So you sure your girlfriend's not your cousin?
I'm not from the South, so it's okay. I'm good.
Okay, just want to make sure. It is strange.
Yes,
that you would Freudian slip that one right in there.
Totally Freudian. But no, but the point. Now I'm all embarrassed. But no, the point being said is just the idea that it's all about recovery. What we do is a very dangerous, very taxing, mentally, physically, emotionally, all that jazz. And there's all these other things that help recovery. And it's just kind of what the little bit that what's his face Dana White said, where you don't have the natural ability, then don't do it. So we're going to see a lot of people that are not going to be able to fight 3 times a year because it's not about the actual fight itself. Like all my injuries are from training. Yeah. All my bumps and bruises, all my twisted knees, all my swollen elbows, everything you want to say is just from training because it takes a lot to get to game day. It's all about the game day. It's all about the build-up. And it's all about mat time too. So the 3-a-days, the 11 sessions I have in a week, it all builds up. And some people won't be able to do it. It's gonna not only is it gonna, I think, shuffle around the way people in regards to testing and just basically the drug test and all that. Also training. People are gonna have to be a lot smarter. People are already moving away because of the understanding of concussions that there's no need to spar 3 times, 4 times a week. There just isn't. What's it called? If done right, a couple of live sessions in regards to even pad work and whatnot will keep you sharp enough to get out of the way. And then you put the accumulation on Saturday, let's say. That's when my sparring day is. And that's when you go rough. That's when you go hard. So I'm excited. Like, bottom line, I'm excited. And, it's funny because, like, on Twitter and all that jazz, like, at first everyone was like, look, the UFC is going to pussyfoot around it. Now they're like, now they're doing it too hard. So you can never justify, you can never please everyone. But honestly, as someone that's going to put my brain, my body, and everything, and my livelihood in it, I'm so excited because again, I have nothing to hide.
Well, I posted. It was actually a report from MMA Junkie had stated that Anderson Silva has failed 3 tests essentially: his out of competition, and then his in competition pre-fight and his in competition post-fight test.
Yep.
He fails them. So I just take the cut and paste it. I took the article from MMA Junkie and put it up. And some guy's like, why would you, that's the best fight of all time. Why would you post this up and write something like this about it? And then, what doesn't make your career any better. Doesn't make you any better. Like, why would you post something up like this? I'm like, I just took another news article from somebody else and put it up. It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with anything. So when you talk about the fans, first they're going, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything at all about it. And now they're saying, look, you're going too hard, UFC. Yeah. It's because the fans aren't really in it. Let's be honest. You're obviously a smart kid. Okay,
I appreciate that.
You obviously have a good head on your shoulders. You obviously know the nature of how to recover and understanding that I can only do this for a finite amount of time, and that the reality of steroids in athletics is not to be bigger, faster, not to be bigger, faster, stronger like it is in bodybuilding. PEDs are for recovery, like you stated. You get all that. You understand that. how many times have you gone out to a fight, walked out of your 10 or 11 wins, depending on which record you look at, and gone, holy crap, that guy was on something. Like, how many? Don't give me the fight, but do you walk out of some of these fights and go, holy shit, this guy's on something? You know, walking in between rounds.
Yeah, four fights for sure. What's it called? I fought guys that were on something. Just the amount of again, everybody's different. You take into that account, but the amount of just food, what's it called, weightlifting, weight training, and just the body type. There's no way. There's two guys that I fought that were fought at as low as 145 and as high as 205. That just, you don't just get that from eating chicken and sweet potatoes.
I can do hey, hold on. In defense of those guys, I can do the exact same thing. I can make weight at 145 pounds, but I'll be dead, but I'll make weight.
Yes,
okay?
Yes.
And right now, I can fight at 205. I've been sitting on the couch a little bit. I can fight at 205, so I can be in there. I'm in that neighborhood, right? It's the same thing you're talking about?
Almost. I can do the same thing. I can do the same thing as long as legs grow back. Yeah, what's it called? You take out my leg, and we grow that right back. Yeah, then I'm good. I'm in there.
So let's talk about your opponent, Roger, then. I mean, obviously, it's the policy doesn't start till July, but the assumption is that everybody that's smart, and you understand, and Dana White talked about risk versus reward. If I make $1 million a fight, and my risk is a 9-month suspension and $2,500, it's kind of worth the risk at that point. Yeah. What's $2,500 in a $1 million purse? What's $2,500 on a $50,000 purse? To be honest with you, what's $2,500? And really, at 9 months, I might miss one fight. Okay, I'll take the risk and see what happens. But if you make it a higher significant, say 10% of my purse, no matter what I'm making, it's 10% of my purse, and automatic 2 years, and they said it might be 4 year on your first offense. Is that a game changer? That's a game changer, right, for everybody else involved?
Total game changer. And the way it's all honestly said here, you talked about Anderson Silva's basically pop 3 times being popped or whatever. If you actually look deeper into that, one of them was like 2 different types of anabolic steroids, and even one of them, again, if you actually go even deeper, it's actually how bad the doctor messed up. One of the steroids was literally just for skin thickening. So like it's literally purely bodybuilder steroids that makes your abs look bigger. It literally is just thicker skin steroids, which is the dumbest thing. The other 2 were because his doctor did not actually disclose. They're totally not illegal substances. Yeah. It's just he didn't disclose it. Yeah. It's just and even what boggles the mind even more is that I'm pretty sure that doctor is the one that is the head of commission in Brazil.
Yeah, it's the same one that Bigfoot said that got him screwed up. So why would you use the same doctor? Like it's just
there's a couple more other people here and there. That doctor is actually 0-6 in regards to getting by the goalie. Yeah, I would want a doctor that no one knows.
Nice hockey reference, by the way, Canadian. That was really good for all the American people at home. He said he's 0-6 by getting by the goalie. It's a hockey reference in Canada. For some reason, Canadians feel like they always have to talk about hockey at some point in a conversation because it's the only sport they understand besides curling, but no one else out of Canada understands curling. So they never use that as a reference. It's always hockey. Yep. So
we invented basketball. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah, hey, it's what we do. We find something really, really good. We just make it better.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Roger. So now the assumption is that with this new drug testing policy, even though your fight's on March 14th, the policy doesn't come until July. The assumption is, and I'm not saying by any means Roger's on any kind of drugs. I don't want to say that, but I'm saying that no matter who you're fighting now, the assumption is going to be like, we're going to start cleaning up now because I can't wait till it's time in July or the next fight in September. I got to do it now because it could come back to bite me in the ass early. Because like I said earlier, the UFC will test you. If you feel like you need to be tested, they're going to test you. They're going to start early. They're going to catch guys early because that's just how they work. So now you figure that Roger's going to be completely clean no matter what happens. He's going to be whatever he was using, he's not going to be using. To my knowledge, Roger's a completely clean guy, so I'm ready to think that I'm saying anything. I'm putting a hypothetical out there. Does that change your training program? Does that change how you think about fights now, knowing that every time you fight a guy, whether it's March 14th on UFC 185 or it's UFC 192 in January of next year, that you know for sure that every guy I touch is going to be completely clean now? Does that change your attitude towards fighting?
It changes my attitude towards fighting in a different way, in the sense that I think that it increases my longevity in the sport, barring injuries and actual injuries and all that jazz, but in just like my desire to be in it, because honestly, there, without saying specific names, there were boogeymen in my division. Guys that I look at, and even aside from the fact where I'm getting to the point where I'm not afraid to fight, it's just, am I going to be able to fight people that I've seen on TV? Am I going to be not any fear? That's the mental movement that I'm working on. But now you throw in the fact, well, that guy's juiced to the gills, and that's a destroyer of humans. But now you're going to see a lot of people being a little bit more deflated. And again, for me, it's all mental. Like half of what we do is all mental. I would say 90%. It's all mental because everyone's doing the same amount of strength and conditioning, boxing, whatever the case, all the increments. Your body should be your temple and whatnot. It's just that the last little inch or last little percentage is who really wants it and who really is going to get it on game day. So the deflation of whether or not my opponent next or the opponent after that take it, I'm at the point in my level in regards to career and the guys that I'm fighting where it's not really about them, it's about me. I got to go out and beat him, right? Like I'm not fighting Luke Rockhold. I'm not fighting even Vitor Belfort yet. I'm not there yet. You know what I mean? It's all about me. It's all about me working really hard because this is a test, and if I study, I'll pass with ace of flying colors. So that's what basically my mentality is. It's all about me. I like to look at it as fighting as a dance between two unwilling dance partners, and I'm going to be selfish and lead.
Yeah, and I've actually said, people have asked me, like, what's the difference when I pro wrestled? Like, what's the difference between pro wrestling and MMA? I said, well, it's very simple. In pro wrestling, with two dance partners doing a live stunt show, I know where it's going. I know what's going to happen. I know the hits I'm going to take, when I'm going to take the hits. I know when my bumps are coming. And it kind of flows. It kind of works. But you still take damage because you're really getting hit. You really got to make it be a real show, hence a stunt show. Then you get into MMA, and it's me trying to force a man to go to a place that he doesn't want to go, while me trying to trick him to think he wants to go to that place, in that position, even though he really doesn't want to, while trying not to get knee elbowed, punched, or kicked. It's like, this is what's going on at the same time. People are like, what? And like you say it more eloquently. I have an unwilling dance partner, and I'm just gonna be selfish and lead the dance, and this is how I win. And that's really what it breaks down to. That's what MMA really is. It's we see these beautiful katas, and you get on the internet and you type in all these different things, and you see people with bow staffs and swords and doing these wonderful, beautiful dance routines with these katas. And then now think about it for a second. If that was a real war in the 1400s, and they're really going after it, they would be doing the exact same positions, exact same things, except no one's willing to do it. They're trying not to get hit. They're trying to hurt each other. And so your analogy is way better than mine is. And so I'm stealing that just to let you know. I'm taking that, and I'm not paying you 10%. I'm not giving you money. Okay. I'm just going to use it. Okay. So.
Well, you just quote me on that.
Let's talk about Roger real quick. Now, clean. Everyone's clean. You're clean. He's clean. Everyone comes in. You both make weight. You both have recovered. You both have done all your boxing, all your jiu-jitsu, all your wrestling. You both have trained just as hard as the other one. Everything is pretty much equal walking in the door. But what sets you above from Roger if everything else is pretty much equal? You only have the same amount of time per week. You only have the same amount of time for massages. But what makes you better?
First and foremost, I think my mental aspect is the best in the sense that I'm undefeated. I don't know how to lose. There's no blueprint how to beat me. He's been beaten before. And if you go into the vortex that is Sherdog, I can look in his record in regards to the guys he's fought. Before UFC, he's fighting bloated up 170ers with barely winning records. That's not how you win mentally. That's not how you put yourself at risk every single time. I have collectively increased in regards to who I fought and why I fought them for every single time. I'm at the point because every single person is just a little bit harder than the next, where he's kind of being thrown into the jungle. You could see that in regards to his fight with Patrick Cummings. He got knocked out by someone much bigger, much better, and someone, sure, you take in the fact that he was an alternate in regards to the Olympics, Patrick Cummings or whatever like that. He has a great background, but as an MMA fighter, he doesn't have that much more experience. And again, there's a blueprint how to beat him. There's no blueprint how to beat me. And I think what I bring into it also is if you look at him, his fighting style versus mine, I'm more versed. Even though he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he's a black belt in Taekwondo, he has boxing and all that other jazz. My pace. He doesn't have my pace. He's a very tentative fighter. The only time he looks for blood is when he actually gets it. Whereas I'm always looking to hurt you. I'm always looking to push you against the cage. I'm always looking to hit you. That doesn't work. Take you down, lift you up. It doesn't matter. I'm looking for different angles because what I do as a necessity, I've only been training for 6 years. Yeah, it was after my first year of university. I was enlightening the mind. I said the body should follow too. And then I just found out that they're one and the same in regards to mixed martial arts. So it's just as a necessity of only doing this for 6 years, I've used, again, like I said, not everyone's built the same. I have a genetic lottery in the sense that I'm probably the only 220-pound marathon runner. So it's just that, you know what I mean? Like, I have gas tank for days. I'm a workhorse, and with 8 hours of sleep, I can wake up and do it all over again. So I'm going to look to beat him and crush him. And again, because of the fact that I'm only been doing this for 6 years, I'm not the most technical individual. I'm learning. I'm putting every single second and a day into the cage and into the gym and onto the mats. But what I do is I go. I drown my opponent, and then I find the moment to strike, whether it be standing, whether it be on the ground, whether it be a mixture of two on the cage. I just keep going until they give up. My game plan is making my opponent give up. Then I can choose how I go.
Now, earlier you said 10 hours of sleep. Now you just said 8 hours of sleep. How much sleep do you get a night?
Depends if there's dancing involved. No, I'm around 8 hours of sleep.
Okay, I'm a 6 hour guy. I'm a 6 hour guy with a nap. I've always been that way. Yeah. I've been that way since high school, and that's just what I am. Yeah. You know?
No. What's called? I actually can do the same thing. I schedule it all in between. I actually count those together. So I usually do 6 hours of sleep with an hour or two of nap.
Okay, that makes sense. I always get a nap in between sessions. It's just how I always operated. Yep. So I can get 6 hours a night, work out, and sleep for a couple more hours, and get up and do it all over again. So
exactly. No, same way.
As you look at Roger's record, he fights Hayward Charles over in Legacy Fighting Championships, and who's the promoter. Mick Maynard is a friend of mine. Wins a split decision, and that's back in September of 2013. Then June of 2014, he hasn't fought since the year before. He gets TKO by Patrick Cummings. Now, it's a long layoff, and then he walks into the UFC, and the UFC is scary the first time you walk in. I don't care what anybody says. It's fucking scary. Okay, it scares the shit out of you. There's a lot of stuff going on. You can't ever prepare for it. The only one I knew that could prepare for it was Sergio Pettis, because he hung out with his brother the entire time, hung out with Anthony the entire time, so he knew he literally was shadowing him the whole time that Anthony was going through it. So when it's his turn to come in, he's like, I kind of know what's going on. I'm okay. Everybody else, I don't care what they say. They're fucking liars. It sucks the first time you're in the UFC. When you come back to the UFC, if you ever get cut, it sucks again because it changes when you go in. Right. So you assume that loss to Patrick Cummings is a little bit of ring rust. His next fight against Luke Barnett, and that was in November. So he fights in June and then fights again in November of 14. And he wins another split decision. You said it's because he doesn't go for blood until he sees blood, whereas you're always looking and hunting for blood. Does he win those split decisions because he's outpointing them? Or does he win those split decisions because he finally sees a point somewhere in the round, that he can try to finish a little bit, and he accelerates just enough to win the round and end up winning a split decision?
No, I would say it's more in the idea that he doesn't hunt for blood, in the sense that if you look at the fight with Luke Barnett, he didn't win because he did well. He won because Luke Barnett shit the bed. Luke Barnett was looking to be too fancy, and when you're trying to throw 10 combos, at least throw one of them. He's dancing around doing his Muay Thai dance, and he's not actually throwing anything. And then he doesn't keep his hands high enough, and gets kicked in the head, even though being the taller opponent. So, and he gets knocked out basically standing up, and he basically survived. Mind you, when he did fall, and when Roger was in his guard or whatever like that, he did really well. Like what he did was he beat him from pillar to post in the last 3 minutes of it. But he also gassed out. Like, he literally, when he stands up in the fight, at the end of it, he has nothing left in it, and then Luke gets his bearings and hits him again. So it just, all that did was reaffirm it wasn't Roger who had the opportunity, it was Luke who shit the bed. That's what that fight honestly reinforces. But not taking anything away from him in the sense that he won the fight. Again, it's a fight, and he took the chance to lead when he could. And that, I think it's honestly both parts. He had the opportunity, he found the opportunity, and he pounced on it. But I say that in the sense that Luke gave him too much of an opportunity and honestly just didn't do anything. Like, he literally was trying to be too fancy. And again, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
It's the most beautiful thing in regards to a jab, cross, and a kick is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But throwing 5 elbows in between somewhere and trying to spin your leg on a roundhouse kick, it doesn't make any sense. Like if you can't do it, it doesn't make any sense.
Master 3 techniques of striking, master 3 techniques of takedowns, master 3 submissions, master 3 defenses, 3 get-ups, 3 striking defenses, and just go. And then if you have those 12 things mastered and you're the best in the world, and no matter what happens, you're eventually going to hit somebody with it. You just keep repeating the combo, repeating the pattern, you're eventually going to hit somebody. You know, it's just how it goes.
Science.
Yeah, it's very simple.
No. So, like, again, not taking anything away from Roger. He has a great pedigree in regards to he's a big, strong dude with 2 different black belts, and he's again not even taking anything away from him. Like the idea that ring rust and the first time he was in the UFC, it could have been just nerves and all that jazz. But again, in the sense that where I feel that I'm also, again, in addition, stronger is mental, where my first fight was for even bigger stakes. Yeah. I fought for the Ultimate Fighter again against a guy that was really good at just taking to the ground and choking your neck and just cranking your neck and choking you out. He got me down there, and the whole camp structure, actually the basis of it was no means no. So every time he took me, like every time someone takes you down, no means no, and you just get out and you just beat him. So I won versus, like, again, if you flip it in the sense that my first fight, I had a TKO and a dominant fight. Yeah. So I'm going to go in and do what I always do, win.
Perfect. Elias, thank you so much for coming on here. And I promised Amanda it'd only be about 10 or 15 minutes, and here we are at 31 minutes already, coming up on 32.
No, I loved every second.
So I really appreciate it. It's Amanda told me I'd have a great time talking to you. There's and if you go back and look at my old interviews, you can tell. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm over this interview because this kid just is not giving me. And everyone's a kid fighting now because I'm 150 years old. So
I know.
It's like you're not giving me anything. You're not talking to me. You're not very smart. You kind of you're not grabbing onto it. You give me stupid stuff, and so I cut the interview off short. And with you, literally, I can talk another 15 minutes with you about complete bullshit and enjoy my entire time. So I really appreciate. I wish the sport had more guys like you that are young and humble, smart, but still want to walk in every day hungry and want to learn and understand the game of I've got a short amount of time to get as much in as I possibly can because then the door is closing. From the moment you start, the door is already starting to close. How quick it closes is up to you.
Yeah, there's a expiry date. We're nothing but milk cartons in some regards.
Yeah, well, some of us are pieces of cheese in the sun. That's just.
Well played.
All right, Elias, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it so much, man. Good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
My pleasure. And looking forward to our next chat.
See you, bud.
Ciao.